My name is Dr. Juliane Zeidler. I'm the Country Director of WWF Namibia. WWF Namibia is part of the global WWF network. WWF is the largest environmental and developmental NGO in the world, and we are leading the Namibia chapter. We are what we call a country office. As WWF Namibia, we are focusing our work on conservation, but also development, sustainable development. We're working on key conservation areas that are a little bit more classic, area-based conservation, such as national parks and protected areas. We're working with local communities. We are also working in more development-oriented topics that go around sustainable development and natural resource use in local communities. It's a wide array. One of the programs we're very engaged with is also the Kavango-Zambezi Transfrontier area, for which WWF Namibia has been a lead in our network. It is a very interesting conservation model in Namibia, working directly with local communities. WWF has been instrumental in setting up what we call the community-based natural resource management program in Namibia, reaching over 250,000 people in Namibia, directly engaging them in conservation. Also working with the government in helping out to raise funding and develop programs and execute conservation work in state protected areas, and we're working very closely in implementing a nationwide conservation approach. WWF Namibia has done awesome work over the past 30 years. It makes me very proud to be part of the team, first and foremost, but seeing the conservation impact in the regions, seeing that a community-led conservation program can work is awesome. And I think it's really super unique in Namibia, something that we have not been able to replicate exactly as it is elsewhere in the world. One of the biggest facts are that Namibia, a smallish country in Africa, was the first country in the world to have environmental conservation as part of the constitution. I've already spoken about community-based natural resource management. It's really very unique that the government and the NGOs working in the conservation and development field are working with local communities in the lead in a pro-conservation development approach. You can't see a lot of this worldwide, and you're speaking to somebody who traveled Africa up and down many times over 35 years. There's nothing in the area compared to what we see in Namibia. It's unique. I think, like anywhere in the world, fragmentation and the constant human expansion of its footprint are and will remain being threats, particularly to the big animals we're talking about. We have a lot of charismatic mega herbivores such as elephant, but also rhinos, cats, predators, carnivores, free roaming in the country. It's beautiful, it's unique, but it's also under threat because every day we build a new piece of road. Every day we build a new piece of railway or a new house. We're expanding into the natural habitat, and naturally it's shrinking, not only in Namibia but also throughout Gaza. That's the beautiful story about the CMNRM program in Namibia. People do benefit from conservation. They're very committed, but they also get returns in terms of financial benefits, income that directly fit into community conservancies through partially joint venture agreements in tourism, but also getting financial streams through programs such as Namibia for Life, where we are trying to establish sustainable financing mechanism for local conservation efforts. We have innovative programs such as establishing wildlife credits, that is a performance-based payment for conservation services rendered by local communities. It's manifold, and it all comes together and adds up to something that is quite significant. I also want to highlight the less tangible benefits. In Namibia, you find you have a lot of very committed rural living people who are connected with nature. They are proud of their nature, and I think that's something we can support as well, that connection between people and wildlife and nature. Sure, that is a rather large question, but of course the importance is that we're working with a broad set of partners. We are living here at our home in the Community Conservation Inspiration Hub with a couple of other like-minded conservation and development NGOs, and we're really trying to leverage one another to have impact in the local communities, supporting the government in the extension work that is required to make a difference. We're also very directly supporting government and other NGOs in soliciting funding for innovative technology to combat poaching, such as drones, CCTV surveillance, and linking it to well-trained rangers. It's this combination of bringing new ideas, working in traditional conservation, but importantly doing it together. Of course, as WWF, traditionally we work a lot with beautiful, very charismatic, bigger, larger wildlife. So a lot of our work focuses on elephant conservation, rhino, particularly black rhino conservation, but also then the little bit less conspicuous, which are pangolin, vultures, other animals under threats. And if you know the WWF Vulnerability Index or listing, it's unfortunately a lot of individual species that are being put under pressure, and so we are focusing on species, although we are looking at conservation in a broader sense. We are looking at landscape conservation, piloting approaches that are a little bit broader to capture the bigger ecosystem in one go. Namibia actually is water constrained, and water is essential for anything we want to do in terms of development aspiration, growing bigger, more industry. So we just need to get better at dealing with our precious resource, and I think this is an amazing field where NGOs like WWF can make a real difference, working with the broader population but also the decision makers on more conscientious decision making. Under climate change, the water situation will become more difficult. So we need to act now to also preempt the impacts that we foresee in the coming decades. I'm dreaming of a very lush environmental landscape where animals thrive, people thrive, where we can develop a nation to be based on the natural resources, but in an economic way that the returns are good enough. When I think about the Kavango-Zambezi Transfrontier Conservation Area, just think of this largest conservation landscape in Africa and potentially the world that we need to hold down. I want people to be proud of what we have and build it out bigger and better. I want to add a little bit about the importance while we're working in conservation to look after our own teams and institutions. It is not easy to run NGOs and individual institutions worldwide currently, but I have a wonderful team working together, very diverse, coming from the operations side, young professionals, the little bit more established silverbacks, but we're working extremely well together, and then of course with the partners. It makes a great mix for a great future.